waiting for the critical mass of humanity to wake up, accept the idea of ETs, to pull off the veil and the mask, as it were, and to realize that, hey, we are not the greatest thing in creation. There are other brothers and sisters out there, and we need to take our rightful place. And once we can get past that and realize that we as a group, as a human race, need help, at that point, they can step in and begin to offer us some opportunities. And when push comes to shove and humanity finally does wake up and disclosure does come out, it's not going to be just about ETs or that type of thing. It's literally going to blow the lid off, and the world will change overnight, where we will have free energy. We'll have unbelievable biotechnology. We're going to have no more people are going to starve. There's not going to be any water problems. There's not going to be unbelievable diseases. Cancer will be eradicated. We will not need gas, oil, nuclear, that type of stuff any longer. The world will change substantially. And it's going to be difficult for some people to accept.
Earth used to be spiritually evolved. During Lemuria, the beginning of Atlantis, the consciousness of the planet was very, very high. It was then corrupted, and significantly through steps of creating religions, creating wars, creating different languages to separate humanity for the last, 100-something thousand years, the frequency of the consciousness of the beings on the surface, in the planet, and planet itself have been significantly lowered. It was an intentional tack to do that. The objective from these rogue groups that are controlling the planet was to lower everybody's frequency. That was the plan, and that's why we have these issues today. And now they're trying to stir up all this fear, which would even lower our frequency more. And then the ego takes over. Many people are operating strictly on ego and not spiritual higher self. Many of us here have other extraterrestrial DNA in us that gives benevolent races the right to intervene because they spiritually and genetically are connected to Earth. So they have a right to do that. Now, if they were to eliminate all of these genetic seeds, this would eliminate the ability for other races to intervene. They want to keep our spiritual vibration so low by creating fear and saying, look, there's just too many of you. You need to cleanse the planet, or even worse, some of you may have to go and live on another planet. We want to take you off this world and bring you to another Earth. Well, the group that's here, that is not their agenda. Their agenda is to beam you up into a lunchbox. I mean, you have the Pope, you have the Queen of England, and others saying, these are the end times. Who is it the end times for? It's the end times for the bad guys. They need our frequency, they need our focus to create this scenario. And if we just tell them, go to hell, we're not doing that. We're going in this direction to create light, to create peace, to create harmony, to create compassion, to create abundance, because it's all about frequency.
We hear about the energy that's hitting the planet and changing the human frequency, and it's a high energy, and that some people can adapt to it and other people won't adapt to it, depending on your own vibration and your energy.
It's also having an effect on our DNA. There's absolute scientific proof that some children and some adults now have third strands of DNA, and it's changing dramatically. And, we used to live longer lives. One portion of our DNA that was turned off by the Anunnaki was the fact that our bodies used to be able to create vitamin C on their own. When they turned that off, it dramatically changed our life cycles. And they did it on purpose, because then we were easily controlled. And for a while there, we were becoming equal to them, because we're very astute, we're excellent learners, and we are extremely creative and very, very adaptable because of all the DNA we have in us from different races. We serve a purpose, and whatever that purpose is, it is necessary enough that many benevolent races have left their star systems, and they are here helping us mitigate these regressives and then eventually unshackle from them and learn to stand in our own light. There is a significant amount of very evolved spiritual beings here who have chosen to come in and help humanity. They realize that not only are we being used and manipulated, but we have been so suppressed that we can't even struggle to remember who we are spiritually. And they're like, whoa, this is so not right. They're interested in trying to save anyone who wants to be free. Their goal is to free humanity. Now, whether people choose that themselves or not, that's entirely up to the individual. They're not looking to save a percentage. They're looking to save all of humanity, or as much of humanity that they can, barring infringing on anyone's free will.
process that we will go through to create our new galactic human self. So suddenly what is happening is geneticists are discovering that the whole process of who and what we are is a lot more complex than we may think. One of the first people to discover this was a Canadian professor in genetics, and he began to see, as they looked through this whole human genome, that what we see in our DNA is a program consisting of two versions, what they call the big code and the basic code. The big code is currently inactive or is dormant DNA program. This creates our fully conscious selves. Then there's the basic code. It's currently our active DNA program. This creates who we are, a limited conscious human. So one of the things happened was a crew was looking at this term junk DNA, and they discovered that there are parts of the genome, especially coded proteins, all the things that are our DNA, our protein chains. The basis of these motifs in the junk DNA suggested that portions of the genome have an important functional role. And so what happened was people at the labs around the world were beginning to discover that this so-called junk DNA is more than what people think of. Watson and Crick in the early 50s, when they discovered RNA DNA, thought that this junk DNA was dead. Well, it wasn't. It was living. It was forming structures, specific and important structures that have a role. Human DNA, thus, is a biological internet with evidence that DNA can be influenced and reprogrammed by words and by frequency. This suggests that our DNA is not only responsible for the building of our bodies, but also serves as a data storage and communication system. This is your regular cell, as Watson Crick discovered. What is happening now, especially in young children that as they are moving through their development, we discover that they are activating a third strand. So we are having active genetic mutations occurring. These are all about creating consciousness. So our DNA is transmuting both the number of strands from 2 to 3 to 12. This is the 12-strand RNA DNA, which is the 12th strand of a fully conscious being, and it creates what a combination is called a star tetrahedron, a 12-sided figure. These strands are mutating right now, and when the mutation is finished, when our metamorphosis is done, our genetic structures, our basic genetic structures, will look similar to this. So we are changing as human beings on a cellular basis and also as an individual. We are changing not only our physical, but our mental, emotional aspects and our spiritual aspects. So as this all happens, you're noticing shifts in your chakras, you're noticing shifts in your aura. Things are changing. The heart is becoming stronger. It is becoming the true center. One of the things that scientists have discovered, that the heart has a nervous system in it equivalent to your brain. It's very complex. The electricity in the heart is as complex and as powerful as that in the brain. Your heart, as the ancient Greeks thought, was the center of your soul. Heart energy represents the spiritual, full conscious energy. The brain represents the limited conscious energy. Its job is to collect energies so that it can be funneled to the heart, the fully potentialized heart. Because all decisions in a fully conscious being come from the heart. What we all need to know is all of us are moving from the 3D limited conscious reality to a 5D fully conscious reality. Now, as you've seen the changes happening to your chakra system, as you see the changes happening to your neurological system, as you see the changes happening to your physiological system, as you see the changes happening as your growth in spiritual awareness, as you see the change in your emotional attitude about the world and yourself, As all of this comes through you, understand deeply within yourself that this is all part of our shifting into full consciousness.